Hello, everybody. You're listening to Fireside Paranormal Podcast. My name is Jordan Cline. My guest this week is Jay Blackburn. He is a paranormal investigator with the Northern Appalachian Paranormal Society. Before we get to him, though, Sarah has a little announcement.
Hey, guys, it's Sarah. Spooky season doesn't last just a month. Shop Wicked Cat clothing year-round to get your horror, paranormal, spooky, and Halloween apparel. Go to Wicked Cat Clothing and shop apparel and accessories now and save 30% off with code FIRESIDE30. I just got my shirt and I love it. Super comfy, fits great. I'm so excited to wear it out.
Also, we have a few more expos in the works. One of them I want to talk about now is the Wicked Wonders Oddities Expo and the Tri-State Exotic Animal Expo. They will join forces for a huge 2-day event March 26th and 27th at the West Virginia State Penitentiary in Moundsville, West Virginia. Admission is $10. Kids 12 and under are free, and tickets are available at the door. Sarah and I will be there with a table and the recorder set up so that we can talk to y'all, meet you, and get some more featured stories. We love hearing from y'all. Also, the network that we've been doing is phenomenal there. We meet so many cool people. They are really, really excited. And I believe they're still looking for vendors. So if you're a vendor and you're looking for a spot to get to, the penitentiary is an awesome place to do it. And reach out to them. They are still looking. Like I said, we do have a few other events coming up. And once we get everything ironed out, we'll let you know. This week's featured story comes in from Shauna from Nelsonville. She has several different stories to share with us, so we're excited to hear it. Here's Shauna.
My name is Shauna Thacker. I now live in Nelsonville, but I've had a lot of paranormal experiences, but they were actually from when I lived around Dayton, mostly. I mean, I've had weird things in Nelsonville, too, but, you know, the weirdest stuff happened in Dayton. And Potsdam, actually, I should say. When I was little, I lived in this 200-year-old carriage house. They would call it, like, a toll house, too, like, I don't know. And every night, I would hear what sounded like a soldier, like, with the weight of the world, like, on his shoulders, going up the stairs. And the weirdest part is we had carpeting. And you could still hear it. And, like, I always associated it with, like, a soldier. And I honestly always thought he was coming up the stairs to commit suicide. And, of course, I was 6 when we moved out. So the fact that I even thought about suicide was strange. And I don't know, I'd hear it every night. It'd be scary. And then Mom never believed me. And then one night, afternoon, I was in the other room with Dad, like downstairs watching like football. And Mom was upstairs asleep in my room. Well, she thought Dad and me were playing a trick on her. And she's like, guys, I know you're on the stairs. And we're like, we're not even near the stairs. And I was like, finally, she heard it. And I don't know, like, that freaked me out enough. And of course, I was 6, so that would be scary to anybody. Well, we've decided to move, and yet the house we moved into actually was more scarier than the one we were leaving. But then when we were packing in Potsdam, I was still scared to death of the upstairs, even though I was like 10 at this time. That's the Potsdam house is the one with the stairs, but the one in West Milton that we moved into, let's see, the day we were walking through it to see if we wanted the house, I saw a lady laying on a cot, chained to the wall, and she looked like she was crazy. And, she was like in a nightgown, and her hair was like in her face, so I couldn't really tell what her facial features, but she looked crazy. Yeah, like she was chained, and the cot also wasn't there, and nobody else seen her. And I was like, yeah, guys, don't you see this lady? And Mom's like, you're 6. There's nobody there. And I still don't, like they still didn't believe me at this point. So they decided, hey, we're going to buy the house. Well, let's see. The first week we lived there, Mom had a dream that she was in hell. But in her mind, she knew it wasn't really a dream. And she knew that if she didn't claw her way out, she would not wake up. And she did claw her way out and wake up. But she feels like that was the battle between the house and her to see how strong she was, like spiritually. And she won, which is why the house was never, that bad. But we're pretty sure we had a portal there. And we would have a half-black cat that we would see constantly. But you'd only see the back half of it. And it would run, like you'd just see it running around the house. Well, yeah, like you'd see the tail end just running around. And Mom watched it one time. She was sitting in our TV room. She watched it jump from the washer to the dryer right in our kitchen, right in front of her. And then we actually watched it run out of our house one night. Because we came home. It was really weird because we came home from like grocery shopping and we had all these like groceries. And Mom went to unlock the door. And all right, you know how like knobs, when they're locked, they don't turn? Well, she was holding it and it was turning in her hand. Huh? Yeah, but she couldn't, it wouldn't open. And then finally it did get released. Or finally, we got to go in, obviously. And then we watched the cat run out of the house. The half cat. And then, I've seen 2 other apparitions besides the lady chained in the wall there. One night, Mom was doing payroll, and I saw this lady sitting in like a wooden chair looking out our front window, because we had a giant window. Well, Mom, her calculator made noise and stuff, and, it made noise, and the lady turned around and stared at Mom and gave her like this like death stare. And I'm like, Mom, the lady is staring at you. And like I described, like, she had a white like Victorian dress on, and I honestly, like, I thought she could see her. And Mom's like, what lady? And I'm like, the lady sitting by the door or by the window. And and I've seen her twice. I just don't completely remember the second time I've seen her, which isn't surprising. But then the other apparition I seen in our house was a farmer looking guy. He when I had a cat that, would sleep with me, she would bang on the door wanting out of my room, and it would be so annoying. Well, one night, she woke me up because she wanted out. So I get up, I open my door, and there's this guy, like 6 feet. He looked like a farmer. Like, he had the plaid over, like, shirt and the overalls. He reminded me of my uncle, so it didn't freak me out. Well, it was funny because, like, I didn't register with me till the next morning. Because I like, shut the door in his face. It didn't scare me. And then I woke up the next morning, and I was like, wait, there was somebody standing here. And I'm like, oh, well. But then my parents, like my mom, she worked weird hours, and my dad has Alzheimer's, so he would stay home with me. Well, they would always find my cat out in the middle of the night, and they would never open the door and let her out, so they never figured out how she got out. So they always contributed it to the guy letting her out. And then, like, Dad would always see, like mist and stuff out of the corner of his eye. In our TV room, no way would you pay me to spend the night, like, in there. It freaked me out when I did. And it always had a vibe. And even in my parents' room, you'd see, like, smoke, and you'd swear somebody was smoking, but nobody smoked in the house. And then one night, my dad, he saw this in the hallway. It was like a cloud of smoke, of smoke. He watched my grandma walk out of it in her, like, jogging suit that she always wore, and she walked down the hallway toward their room, which is where her ashes were. Oh, yeah. And he never could figure that one out. And then one afternoon, I was on the phone with Mom, because I would always call her, and we were talking about, like, my day, and the house was quiet, I was alone, and she's like, who pissed off Dad? And I'm like, what? Why? What are you talking about? And she's like, somebody is in the background screaming, and they're saying your name. And I'm like, Mom, I'm in a dead silent house. Dad's not even home. Like, And I was like 14 maybe at the time. I was terrified. I went outside and I stayed until mom got home, or until dad got home, because I'm just like, I'm not going back in there. And then my ex-fiance, he swears he saw one of my necklaces levitate and like glow blue, which, was weird. And I've never experienced that, but he swears by it. Or he did when we were still together, I should say. And then in the closet, terrifying. I used to barricade it. Like, I always got a weird vibe about it. I never could explain it. So I used to put like everything I could in front of it. Well, when we moved, I had to, of course, clean out my closet. So I would sit in the chair that was in my closet, and I was comfortable for a while. But then, as the night went on, about midnight or so, the whole vibe changed, and I like ran away from my closet and would do everything on the other side of the room just to stay away from my closet. It makes no sense. Like, I can't explain that one. But then one time when I was at college and my mom was in there wrapping like Christmas presents, she watched my Jeff Hardy stand-up move across the floor, and she ran into it. Yeah, she watched it literally move. And she was like, okay then. Like, she didn't even know what to do. You had a lot of stuff happen. And one time, we went on vacation. We came home. Our back door was standing open. And, of course, we had a screen door that didn't lock. So, honestly, anybody could have walked around. But it was so weird because nothing was disturbed. Even our cats were still in the house. But our back door was standing wide open. And at that point, my grandma had died, so we had her ashes. So Mom was like, Mom, watch over the house over God. And we swear that might be what happened. Like, we swear maybe somebody tried to break in and she scared them. We don't really know. That was one weird thing that we can't explain either. Like, and we would hear what sounded like our whole kitchen being rearranged. And of course, if you've seen our house, you'd know that wasn't possible. Our house was kind of a mess. So it sounded like our whole kitchen was getting rearranged, and we'd go in there and nothing was out of place. And we'd hear we'd hear that like a lot, and our whole house had a vibe to it. And when we were moving out, Mom went through every room and she's like, the new owner does not believe in ghosts. We tolerated you guys, for the 15 years we lived there. She's like, but you have to move on. And as far as we know, the new owner hasn't had any ghostly activity, so maybe they did move on. But yeah, that was just in our house. I was gonna say I've had tons more happen outside the house, but a ton more, I should say.
Wow, thank you so much, Shauna, for your stories. Those were really cool. If you have a story you would like to share with everybody and you want to be our featured story, make sure you email us at firesideparanormalpodcast@gmail.com. Again, if you are a paranormal investigator, we'd love to have you send in some of your evidence or neat stories from any of your investigations. We'd like to add that as well. So just email us at firesideparanormalpodcast@gmail.com. Gmail.com. All right, I want to get to my guest today. Join me by the fire as we welcome Jay Blackburn. He is the founder, lead investigator, and demonologist for Northern Appalachian Paranormal Society. Jay, you with us?
Yeah, I'm here, man.
Jay, now tell me a little bit about your group. Where are you from? What do you like to do? How many folks you got? Give me the highlights.
Okay. Originally, I'm from a small town in Kentucky, Pikeville, Kentucky, actually.
Okay, yeah.
I ended up moving up in Pennsylvania. It's almost 6 years ago. Next month, actually, would actually be 6 years when I moved up here, actually. And my whole group is probably about 15 of us.
That's a good sized group.
They go out. Yeah, some they're able to come out, and sometimes they can't. I do like, I like to go to the bigger places so I can get them all in there to actually get them kind of refreshed for the ones who couldn't make it, to the little small stuff that we do. It's just a really good group. I mean, with the way they investigate, we all got a different way of doing stuff.
You talking like every person in your group has their own kind of style?
Yeah.
That's neat. Now, what types of places do you like to go to? Are you more residential? Do you like to get into like the big places? I know off the air we were talking about the penitentiary in Moundsville. Like what are your ideal places that you like to go?
I mean, I do like, the mission that I had and the vision was to help, like homeowners, business owners kind of understand what's going on.
Okay, good.
And like in that property, it could be paranormal or it could be just really something simple like plumbing, electrical, That's what I want. I want to kind of educate people so they won't think it's, if it's not paranormal, they don't have to look and say my house is haunted when it's not.
So it sounds like your like go-to is to try to disprove what's going on, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I like that. I like that approach with it. I know all different groups have different things they like to do and different styles and theories on everything. But I like when groups go in because in my mind, if a family is calling you, that means that they're scared. They're not having as much fun as you are, that there's a noise in the middle of the night. So if we can disprove that, that's giving that family peace of mind. You're not trying to stir up a demon and then saying, well, we got some cool things. Have a good night. And then you leave the family there with whatever you decided to stir up, even more scared than they were beforehand.
Yeah, that's, it's like I told all of them when they started hanging out with me and stuff. I told them, if I get a phone call or just an email saying that, hey, I got a 1-year-old, 10-year-old, 5-year-old, whatever, that's having problems sleeping, they don't want to be in this short room. I told them, if I've got one planned out for you guys to jump on that's so big, more likely I'm going to cancel it and, I'm going to go to the small one.
Yeah.
I mean, I told them, if you want to go for that, you go, but I'm helping the family. That's
really cool. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I see here too. You say you're a demonologist. Tell me about that.
Once the pandemic hit, I started really, contemplating about the whole activity. I noticed in certain spots around the area up here that the paranormal activity started spiking.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, would it just be the whole factor that everybody's afraid of this? Is this what's causing it? And I started thinking, well, I want to go a little bit more in depth with the activity. Could it be something demonic? Could it be just regular, just activity-wise? So I sat there for, I guess, probably like 3 months, really thinking before I started really digging into it. So me and my wife was talking. I started this class coming up, and I asked, I'm really interested in this. And she told me, go ahead and take it. And I started reading it, studying it, and I was like, you know what? Now I'm in the point that I'm not that guy who wants to go out and conjure up a demon.
Yeah.
I wanted really to learn more about it so I can go and educate other investigators about what not to do and what you need to be looking for.
So do you this is kind of new for you, right? So have you had to do like any kind of exorcisms or anything like that yet, or are you still in like the learning phase?
I can say I'm still in the learning part of it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just one of those things. It's like I told everybody, if you want to keep studying it. I did help one of my own back in July.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we went down to Trans-Allegheny. And I guess he was just, and I tell everybody, especially Trans-Allegheny, you go in there with an open mind, don't have baggage, don't have anything running through your mind that's going to cause you to be in a bad mood, because usually that they feed on that.
Yeah.
especially a place like that. And she went in, and whatever this guy was, it was just really intense. She dropped to the ground. She cried. We got her outside. A couple other ones just trying to do like regular blessing and stuff like that. And well, she's a atheist, so they was trying to do a Christian prayer and all that. I just sat there and turned like, guys, that's not going to work. You know, they're like, wow, it's just she's an atheist, you know, and she yelled at me, and a couple of other ones was trying to calm her down. And I get over, I stood beside her. You know, she was literally trying to just knock me down. And I grabbed her arm, and I asked, what do you want me to do? She told me, I want you to stay because this guy's afraid of you. Like, why is he afraid of you? You know? And I really didn't do, you know, a whole lot of, like, a whole exorcism thing. And, you know, I just, you know, kind of raised my tone up to it. And I told her, you know what, me and you're going to go for a walk. If you're going to do something with this, you come with me, and me and you'll go back inside. And after a couple minutes, I've been saying that to it and all that. She just lightened right up.
So you think like, it left her, whatever was going on?
Yeah. But she works with me at the same job I work at.
Okay.
And she's one of the trainers that works with me. And from right after that, she's just like she used to be. She's laughing, cutting up, and she'll tell people what she went through. And she keeps on telling people that really helped her. So that made me feel like $1 million.
Yeah, I bet. With
oh yeah.
With the investigations you go on, you know, what type of equipment do you like to take with you? What are your go-to gadgets?
One of the best ones for me would have to be the FLIR 1 camera. I got the one that attaches to the bottom of the iPhone.
That's a thermal, right?
Yeah, I love that thing. I couldn't argue with that. That's probably like the first thing I grabbed was that.
Now, what kind of luck have you had with that?
I've had some really cool stuff with this. I ended up doing a investigation down in Greene County, the Greene County Historical Society Museum. That used to be the Greene County Coal Farm. And
okay.
And see, I've been down there three times already. And the last time I took the thermal with me, we went down to the basement part, which they called the dungeon. And I flipped around, and the one that was beside me, she was like, Jay, I'm seeing something coming, poking its head out. And when she was seeing that, I was actually seeing it through that thermal.
Mm.
And then I asked her, said, you know, could you come out and, you know, let me see you? And we had a heat signature down the end where it was coming, popping its little head out. And all of a sudden you watch the signature just blacking out.
Oh, wow.
Like it was literally stepping in front of it.
Wow.
And, oh, yeah. And this went on for probably like 4 minutes. Then I stood there and just watched this. And I'm panning around seeing, looking at my hands and stuff, seeing the heat coming from that. I look back up and it's still blacked out. And there's a room, like right off to the left of it, actually the right, with the way I was facing. And I asked it to say, so okay, can you step away so I can see that heat signature again? Well, it took about a minute, and you can literally start watching that heat signature coming back through in the frame again.
Man, that's incredible. Like, I don't want to say that it's super rare, to get, anything like that with thermal, but the evidence in general, like we were talking before, you go into to disprove,
mm-hmm.
right? So like the ideal goal of the investigation is to come out with nothing, because you've disproved everything. You got the people, safe. Hey, it's your pipes. Hey, it's
mm-hmm.
this. Hey, it's that. They can sleep tight, That's the overall like goal. Well, when you get the evidence, that's rare. That's why you got groups that have been around for years and years, and you're like, what kind of EVP do you have? And they might have like 3 or 4 clips, of good
Yeah.
quality EVP. Now, when you get into like the thermal imaging, like that's a whole new ball game with it, so
Oh, yeah.
you're getting like 4 minutes of interaction.
Hmm.
That's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, I was really surprised because I figured, I was, when I saw it, I said, well, okay, she's going to see something. And, what I was looking at, I thought they came and trying to matrix a little bit, But the funniest thing is when, whatever this thing was, when it started coming out, the view of the thermal got real fuzzy. And then all of a sudden you're seeing this thing just black as soon as they're out.
Man.
And once it left, it cleared right up.
Now, how often has that happened for you? How often have you had something like that go on?
That was probably, that was probably the first time that's happened. I did catch one at one that we've been working on for about 2 years already.
Uh-huh.
It's got a cemetery out back. And it's another local historical society up here. And I'm like, well, okay, let me go out here because the husband told me he was hearing voices at one of the other buildings, but there was nobody around. And I was like, well, let me take this out here and see, just play around, see if we can see, like a deer or something coming, just walking around people, because there's no lights behind this building. And I get a little bit down, we start kind of hearing stuff moving around, and I pan over, and all of a sudden I see this figure just come up from the ground. And I'm like, what is that?
Oh, wow.
And it looked like he started walking, and one of my other teammates, started thinking like me, and she was like, I got an idea. I'm going to go over there and walk to it. I was like, okay, And by the time she got so close to it, it was gone.
Now, where was this at?
Do what?
Where was this at?
This was actually just not too far from me. This was at the Baltimore Historical Society in Fort Allen, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And yeah, we've been getting a lot of calls within that area because that was a really strange area.
Well, I know before you said Greene County. How close are you to Greene County?
Yeah, I'm like an hour away from Greene County.
Okay, I know that we did a whole show on Greene County before. That's a pretty.
Oh, yeah?
That's an active place.
Yeah, I mean the building itself is just gorgeous. I love the building.
Now tell me some more stories. What when you talk about like your group and the things that you guys have done, what are some other neat stories that you have? What are some cool experiences that you've come up on?
Oh, wow. Yeah. Hillview, man, that's a cool place to go. We have a lot of fun there.
Now tell me about that.
We was like I said, I'm one of the I help about from time to time being a staff member there. I go up there one or two times a month with what my schedule is.
Wow.
And yeah. And we ended up doing a cleanup day, like right before the season started last year. And we had some new guys there, and it was me and the other lead and my co-lead that comes in. So we was walking around. I was kind of telling those guys about the different rooms. And I saw this new one. We just walk around through the corridor, just talking, and we go down one section of the hallway. We look down, and it was around dusk, probably a little bit later than that. And we was kind of looking. We saw this like a, how can I say it? It's like a tentacle came out of the wall, then it came back in. And I'm sitting there, like,
chemical?
Did anybody see? Yeah, it's like an octopus. It was just this little I don't know if it was even shaped like an octopus. It was just this strange arm-looking thing come out of this wall. And
Tentacle. Oh man, I thought you said chemical. I'm like, a chemical came out of the
yeah,
wall like an octopus.
I it's it was just one of those things, and everybody sitting there, they just, what? I was like, God, you see that? The guys behind me, they're like, nope, nope, I'm done. That was it. I was like, wait a minute, where you going? And we ended up going back downstairs, and we were sitting there talking to some of the other ones about that, and one of the other staff members came over, and he looked and said, you saw that same thing? I said, yeah. He looked on the second floor. I said, yeah. He's like, I saw it just a couple months ago. What was it? He's like, I don't know.
Wow. Now, is there any
exactly
kind of like history, like something that's drawn to that area? Somebody pass away there? Anything like that?
Well, we got a thing that's up there. We call it the creek. And we think it might have been him, because what he does, he's been there since before the building was even built. We think he's a elemental. And what he does, he likes to scare people. It has a fun time of just really freaking people out.
Huh.
And I think that's what he was trying to do with us. And when he noticed that we didn't budge, besides the two that was behind us.
Now,
and after that was the last time I heard about anything like that.
Now, tell me about this place. What is it? Where is it? What was it?
Okay, Hillview Manor. It's up in Newcastle, Pennsylvania. Really famous place. Ghost Adventures has been there. Ghost Hunters have been there. What was that episode? The Ghost Asylum, I think, with the Tennessee Chasers or whatever. It used to be, a poor farm. It opened up in 1926. It was originally called the Lawrence County Home for the Aged. And it went through a lot of different people who ran it. It was a lot of, we've been finding out there's been like a lot of deaths there. That's, to me, it's kind of fishy. I guess you could put that in a simple way. With two of the original people who was over the house. And in the 70s, around the 50s and 70s, it started, they started bringing in more people, and they wanted to change it into more like a nursing home. So in around 76, 77, they started, 74, I believe, they started making plans for a new wing, a new basement. And once they started building that, they decided it was time to change the name. So they went through the local newspaper in the area, and the name Hillview Manor got picked, and that's what they changed it to.
Oh.
And it was there until it's still, we still call it Hillview, but in 2004 they came in and shut it down. And when the current owner's mom came in, she bought the property, and they have plans on making it into a apartment buildings.
Okay.
And after her mom passed away, her brother came in and took it over, and he was going to keep on going with the plan. And they walked in one day and noticed that somebody came in and took all the wiring out of the building. It was like $100,000 worth of wiring.
Oh.
Stuff he just ripped out of the building. So they was like, oh, well, okay, what are we going to do now? And a couple guys came over, and I asked them, say, hey, can we come in here and go some? My brother's like, I guess, ain't a whole lot I can do now. And then after that, he just kicked off, and that was going on before, like Ghost Hunters and all them even got put on TV.
So it's primarily a place for, investigations now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're actually doing a fundraiser on the 11th and 12th of March, actually. And then all the proceeds is actually going to help maintain the roof of the building.
How about that?
Yeah, I mean, we've got a big passion for that building.
Yeah, see, this is kind of new to me. I haven't really heard of this one before.
Oh, I'll show you a link. I have to send that over to you.
Now, and we talked before, some guests that I had on the show before, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I believe they were talking about the same place, different investigations. Have you been there together?
Me and Eric, actually, we done a couple of nights together over there as staff members, and we usually sit down and we talk about different experiences we had in the building, and we watch the cameras, and we try to debunk the things we see on it.
Now, so this is a pretty active house. So what are some of the things that are there? Like, I know you said you called it the Creep.
The Creeple. That's one. I call it a house, but it's more like a 3-story building, really.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. There's multiple spirits in that building. Like I said, it was an old nursing home before they shut it down. You do have your famous ones. One is a little boy by the name of Jeffrey, who I've had a lot of interaction with him, and surprisingly enough, it seems like when nobody can get anything out of him, and if I'm there, I'll tell them, guys, if you can't get nothing out of him, just come over to me, and I'll go up there with you.
And you got some kind of connection with him.
Yeah, that's what I think. And usually I can go up there and just say things, tell them hi, and they start getting activity with it. I'll just go back downstairs,
What do you think is that connection? What do you think brought it in?
Probably my little one over here.
Okay.
He's I took them both, him and my wife, I took them up after I started helping them out. And I saw them around the building, and in Jeffrey's room, they left, people leave like little toys and stuff in there for him. And my little one got in there. He sat there. He started playing with the toys.
Mm.
And I looked and told him, come on, we got to go. And he was getting ready to take one of the toys with him. I said, no, Bub, this belongs to little Jeffrey. This stays here with him. And he's like, oh, okay, Daddy. So he put it down, and he walked off, We went home, and he looked at us, Dad, I like the spot you walk at. I'm like, Bub, it's an empty building, And that's the way I saw it. I was like, yeah, it's an empty building. And he looks, well, I really especially like your little friend Jeffrey. I said, Bub, did you see him? He's like, well, I don't know.
I don't know, Dad. I might have. Why?
Yeah. That's the typical answer for probably any kid.
Uh-huh.
Did you see it? No, I don't know. Really? And the strangest thing about it, he's 10, like I said earlier, he's 10 years old. And his name's Jeffrey, too. And it's spelled exactly the same.
Ooh. And
we ended up finding out that Jeffrey up there, he's, we got conformed by 4 different types of, like a spirit box, something like a portal, and a couple of sidekicks even came up and told us that he was 9 years old. And I'm like, okay. So after that, I started going up there a little bit more and trying to get something out of it.
Now, do you think that your son saw him?
I think he did.
Because they say, and I've heard very, very, very many stories about kids, just being more perceptive. Maybe it's their pureness or what have you, but being able to see the spirit world a bit.
Yeah, I mean, I have to agree with him on that. I believe at that age, their mind is more open than what it is once we get older.
Maybe it's because they haven't been told they can't yet.
Yeah, that's a big possibility. I mean, it's just one of those things. And by all means, I'm never going to look and tell him there's no such thing as a ghost. So if he's got an imaginary friend, that that it's not there. I would never sit and tell him that.
You start talking about imaginary friend in your house, you start getting out your equipment.
Yeah, I tell him something's up. I hope I don't go to that point, but
So here's a question for you. What do you tell your kids? Because I know I have some friends that have younger kids that are in the paranormal field that, the kids go on investigations with them. I've sat at different, different paranormal expos, and, some young ones come up and they're like, hey, we go on investigations. I listen to your show. How is your approach to the paranormal with a young kid?
When it comes little man in here, he knows, but I don't really, I kind of bug him just a little bit, because he'll see me get ready. He'll come in. What are you doing, Dad? I tell him. He's like, oh. Then I look at him. So you want to go with me? He's like, no, it's too dark.
It's too dark.
But I don't. Yeah, I don't really pressure him on anything. I don't really ask him to listen to anything because I don't want him to get that point he's afraid of it.
Gotcha. At that age too, it's a very fine line on what they can understand, comprehend, and not be afraid.
Yeah.
With my kids, we haven't really talked about it. They know I do the show and all that, but they don't really get into what we talk about. My kids are scared of their own shadow half the time, so that's a whole book of worms that I'm not even going to try to open up.
That's great.
A non-bright light could be on in a back hall, and they're like, I ain't walking down there. there could be a raccoon, Dad. It's like, no, okay.
Well, it's like this in here. I get up like around 4:00 Monday through Friday to get ready to go to my job. And if he goes to the house, I open the door. Like, every light of this house is on. I'm like, oh man, come on. I go look in his room. And those lights are out. Doors shut. You gotta be kidding me.
But every other light's on.
Yep. So I'm flick the lights out. Oh God.
Now, what other places? What other types of investigations have you been on? I know we talked about this one place. Is there another that you like to that's like your go-to, or you stick with the one?
Well, there's a few of them actually, but go-to would have to be Hillview. Have to be.
Well, you say you do that like at least what you say once a month.
1 or 2 times a month, yeah. And most times I'm doing stuff on the side, and then other new places that that everyone's found out they want to go try, and when somebody calls up, sends an email, we'll go.
So is that kind of where your training ground?
To a point, yeah. I mean, for people who hasn't really experienced something, I always tell them you need to go to this place. You need to go up there because you will see stuff that you normally won't even see, and you probably won't see again. And
now, how long did you say that you've been investigating?
What?
How long did you say that you've been doing investigations?
With as a team, we've been going about 3 years altogether.
What about you?
But before that, we, me and my wife, or just me personally, would just go out and just do little things like take photos and just little things like that. We ended up having like an old school, I guess one of those Sony, what is it, handy cams or whatever.
Yeah.
And the ones that you have to get like the whole, the old cassette looking tape to go stick down in it. And me and my cousin was over at his house, and he was, hearing voices and stuff. And And he told me about it. I said, you know what? Let's play around with this camera. Let's just see if it has night vision on it and all this. I told him, I just want to try. You know, I told him, I've seen these guys on TV do it. I just want to see if this thing will actually just remotely catch something. And we was in his yard. We was sitting there talking. And I panned the camera over to he had like a little building. And you see my shadow, his shadow, and then all of a sudden you see one come like right between us. We'll just walk up in between us. And we didn't see it until probably like 3 nights after that. Because I decided to go back to the tape, and I seen that. I was like, dude, you got to see this.
Now, where was this one at?
This was actually back home in Kentucky.
So you got a shadow man in Kentucky.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I took a few down to a little battlefield that's down there, too. We got some really cool little things off that.
Now, I got a cool picture, too, and I need to put it up on the website. And I've been meaning to do it, and it's just sitting in my kitchen. But I have an uncle who used to do, like, the Civil War reenactments.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a picture, and I think there's only, like, 1 or 2 guys and they're at a cannon, and they're, like, loading the cannon to go off. And somebody took a picture of them, and there's, like, 3 or 4 people standing there in the picture. And my uncle's like, there's only 2 of us. It's like, I don't know who these other people are. There's nobody there. And there's more
cool.
people in the picture, yeah. Battlefields are so interesting.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this one here, I mean, it's just about 3 acres. And it's like I was telling somebody else, I told them daytime, it's just a piece of property. But at night, it completely changes. The whole atmosphere on this land just completely changes. And it just comes alive.
Now, have you ever taken your, like, FLIR camera, the thermal, out to the battlefield?
None of that. Not yet. Not yet. It's been, with the whole pandemic thing, they pretty much stopped a lot of stuff.
Gotcha. Say, that would be very interesting just to see if you got anything that way.
Oh, yeah. I definitely want to try to get back down there this year. I'm going to have to try to reach out to our friend down there and see if I can get another night now, since it's kind of starting to go away, in my opinion.
No, I think Gettysburg is one place that I think one of those cameras would be really interesting.
Oh yeah,
you know, with all the people, all the emotions, everything that's kind of recorded in that area. I actually heard a story one time that you know, there was just tourists going out there, and they were, you know, looking through the battlefields, and they went into the shop afterwards. They were like, we really enjoyed, you know, the reenactment that was going on today. You know, we sat and watched it for a while. And the lady at the desk said, you know, we don't have one scheduled for today. There is no reenactment today.
Yeah, that night, that's a really good place to go too. Me and my wife, she took me down there in September, and it was just one of those spur of the moment deals. I took a couple days off, and she's like, "Come on, let's drive down the battlefield." It was only 2.5, 3 hours out. You know, I'm like, "Okay, yeah, let's go." And we went down there, and like as soon as you hit, we went in, we didn't go in like more of the towns that we came on the backside where the battlefield stuff was. And we get out, I stretch my legs. I told her, you can get out and you can feel just the emotions and stuff going on in that whole area.
It's like it's almost like a heaviness in the area itself.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The town itself, feels the same way.
There's only one other place that I've been that felt like that as well, and that's Point Pleasant, West Virginia.
Now I know what you're talking about, and that's another one that I really want to go down and actually check out. And where we lived out in Kentucky, we was probably maybe 2.5 hours away from it.
Oh man.
Maybe even closer.
Yeah, that's one that definitely. I remember getting out of my car the first time I went there, and it was like you felt something different in the air. You're just like, ooh.
Yeah, I mean, I really think that town's they got something. I mean,
they got a lot of somethings.
Yeah, I mean, is it true? Is the boss man, or is it just just something totally different. I mean, I don't know, but I would really like to get down there one good weekend.
So if somebody out there, is in your area and they want, you or your group to come and check you out, they want, some help from you, what's a good way to get up with you? You don't have to give like a personal cell phone or anything like that out, but what's a good way to make contact? Are you on Facebook? Are you on Instagram? Like, where's your go-to?
My go-to though, we do have Instagram, but I think I do more dealings with Facebook. I think Facebook would probably be the quickest way that I can see something pop through. And usually, if I don't see it, my wife's going to see it.
And what's the Facebook page? Because your group has a page, right?
What? Yeah. They can get up on Facebook and look up under the Northern Appalachian Paranormal Society.
So get on Facebook, check them out. If you're in the area, you want somebody to come check out your place, or if you got any questions, for Jay on the things that they do, or you want to find out more about his thermal camera that he got, definitely check him out on Facebook. That's the Northern Appalachian Paranormal Society.
Yep.
All right, Jay, I want to thank you so much for joining me today.
Oh, thank you.
I always love listening to different groups and investigations, just hearing all the different styles and theories and experiences. I love hearing. I think that's one of my favorite things about doing this show is listening to all the different stories that folks have.
Oh yeah, I like listening to different experiences myself.
It's a blast, and I want to keep touching base. Like whenever you go on, different investigations, you have some evidence and things like that you want to share. Have you back on to talk about the hunt or whatever was going on with it. Okay.
Yeah, sounds great.
Awesome, Jay. Thank you so much for joining me.
Oh, thanks a lot, man.
Bye.
Bye.
And with that, the fire is out. I want to thank everybody so much for joining me this week. Thank you, Jay. Thank you, Shauna, for your stories. And I want to remind everybody to check us out on all the social media platforms. Our Facebook group, Fireside Paranormal Hub. If you haven't joined that yet, you're missing out. We have a lot of fun there. TikTok, Fireside Paranormal. On Twitter, it's at Fireside Parapod. We're on Instagram. We started up a Patreon. And definitely check out our website, firesideparanormal.com. Every time a new episode uploads, it goes directly there. It might not upload to, all the podcast sites until Monday, but if I release an episode early, it's going to be there first. So if you want early access, definitely check that out. It also has our merch section. We have lots of different designs on there. I've been working on another design, maybe coming out here soon. So I definitely want your feedback on what you think of everything there. So check that out, firesideparanormal.com, and check out that merch section. One other thing, and I think it's pretty humorous. I've been working on my YouTube, and I was told, if I get a certain number of subscribers, I could change my YouTube URL because it's something that I started back in 2006, and it's youtube.com/bongobob1984 because, I'm a hand drummer, so Bongo Bob was fitting. So I went to change it this evening right before doing the show, and it turns out I have a legacy account, which means I can't change it. So for the show, it is youtube.com/bongobob1984, and I'm really trying to grow the YouTube site, so I'm going to have a lot of not only the Fireside episodes on there, but I'm also going to have a lot of the back catalog of my previous show, Whispers Radio. I'm working on getting all the titles, corrected with the guests. Right now, they're just the dates, but there's some really cool guests on there. I've talked to Lorraine Warren, Ernie Hudson, one of the Ghostbusters, a lot of really, really, really cool people. So it's definitely worth checking out there. So let me know what you think of that. Definitely give it some listens and some feedback. Speaking of feedback, if you listen to the show on like Apple or Spotify, make sure you rate that because that helps me out too. That is all the time we have for this week. Thank you guys so much. And until next week, don't be afraid, only believe.